Let's see, we're not Arab Hanukkah.
Isn't Hanukkah fakir? The whole point of Hanukkah is...
Okay, so you give a drush. I'm just saying, that's the...
We share Hanukkah usually try to...
Tamid kacha.
Mischazek. So the Yevanim were after all, right?
In order to understand the next piece of Rav Tzadok here,
He doesn't talk about Hanukkah by himself, does he?
we spoke about Hanukkah last year in Rav Tzadok, so let's go further in this. Speak about Hanukkah also maybe next week. But now we're talking about Yisrael, but Mitzrayim. In order to understand this next piece, I just want to move to a different Rav Tzadok. It's actually in the same sefer, I believe, in the Likutei Amarim. You have that in there? Page 105. It's really Aniyim b'makom zeh v'shirim b'makom acher.
What is the statement?
Ois Tezayin, Ois Ches. Even now, you can hold on the side for a minute. Let me just share a concept. There's a concept, a Zayar concept. Do you have Likutei Maimar? Yeah. So I have the same book you have. 105.
Okay.
Page 105. But let me explain something. There is a concept which comes up in the Zayar often, and it's a concept of koif bifnei adam. Kikupa bifnei adam. Like a koif bifnei adam. So, like a monkey stands before man. Like, there's a comparison between...
We're not talking about evolution.
Not as his ancestor.
There's a concept of a kof. A kof looks like a person and can be playful like a person and even juggle like a person and be trained to do all kinds of things. But somehow that kof is not a adam. It's close. Ad kedei kach that there are those of the scientific world that insist that that's our ancestry. But it's not it's a deep point because
Speak for themselves.
It's a deep point because there is a similarity between kof and adam as opposed to more of a similarity than a dog or a fish. There's a kof bifnei adam. The Zayar speaks a lot about kof bifnei adam as adam wannabe, an imitation adam, a different twist on it. So, for instance, Lashon of the Zayar, Rav Tzadok is going to bring all this, I'm just giving you an introduction. Lashon of the Zayar is that when the people of Shinar, Bavel, built the Migdal Bavel, so what they were trying to do was build a Beis HaMikdash. So it was kikoif bifnei adam. The number of Esav in the Lashon of the Zayar, when not so much when he said to his father, "How do you take meiser on salt?" and those questions, but Esav made a statement. He got married at age 40. So Chazal say, why did he get married at age 40? Amar Esav, my father Yitzchak got married at age 40. So I'm also going to get married at age 40. Here's the difference: that Yitzchak was a tzaddik celibate until he was 40, and Esav was running after women the whole time. So, but he didn't get married. So he got married at 40. So all of a sudden he's a tzaddik like his father Yitzchak. It's a tzaddik in pelts because yes, this part is like. Here you're Yitzchak, but you weren't Yitzchak until you got to this point. So what is that bechina of fakerai? Maybe he was even fooling himself. It was koif bifnei adam. You're acting like you think you're acting like an adam, but you're really just a koif. You're an imitation of it. Like if you really analyze it, what's the What's the difference between a koif and an adam? Physically, the difference is a zanav. A kof has a zanav, which the Zohar discusses, the zanav. But there's an Indian of das, meaning that the kof is not, like I remember once having a friend that he was able to imitate any chazan, Kozovitsky, Rosenblatt, any chazan, but he had a bad voice. Kosmani was imitating he was able to do it, but if you ask him to sing just his own voice, he didn't have his own voice. So it's this is the kof b'fnei adam, the ability to imitate without having the atzmius of yourself. It's not that I can do what you can do. It's that you have the atzmius, and I can do sort of the chitzonius of the thing without even understanding what I'm doing.
Mimic.
So so monkey see, monkey do. Monkey see, monkey do. So this is the koif b'fnei adam. And the Zohar says Esav was a koif b'fnei adam. Migdal Bavel was a koif b'fnei adam. The nachash in Gan Eden was a koif b'fnei adam. That's where it gets already more interesting, that the nachash, you thought it was a snake, it was a monkey. It was kikoif b'fnei adam because the nachash, to put it very simply, I'll show you the course in a second, but the nachash said to Chava, we could be God.
Wasn't the nachash back then very similar to
it? And therefore, nachash, as Eitan Yehuda says, was very similar. Walked on its feet, talked, there was a dibur. Kikoif b'fnei adam. Abish was, but not just kikoif b'fnei adam. The way the Zohar learns it, that Chava, Abe Kol Chai, was meant to be the Merkava for the Shechina in this world. That was what she was created for. The Bechinas Nukva of Isha is a Kli. A Kli for what? The Isha is the Beis HaMikdash. If you look at the whole Shir is based on this Yisod, that the Isha is the Kli for the Shechina, the Merkava for the Shechina is the Isha. So she's the Bechina of Nukva. She's not the Bechina of Duchra. She's the Bechina of Nukva. She's the Kli. So the Nachash said, I'm the Kli. Like he went to take away that the Soid HaNukva, Lashon of desire, the Soid HaNukva from the Isha. Okay, all these things require huge hispidiness. So this idea of koif b'fnei adam. So I just want to learn with you, just because this will help us. The Zohar says, it's actually quite illuminating. The Zohar says, the Zohar is in Parshas Truma, Daf Kuf Mem Ches Amud Beis. But the discussion is the nachash nechoshes that Moshe Rabbeinu made in the Midbar. What was the story? The story was that Amos came beside him. Right? They were whining. They were kvetching. Where's the watermelon? In the desert. Where's the garlic? Where's the pickles? Where's the fish? Where's the herring? And let's go back to Mitzrayim. And then they had a plague of nechashim. And the story about Midbar. And then Moshe Rabbeinu, what was his answer? He made a nachash nechoshes, a caduceus. He took a big mace, a big stick, and he made a copper nachash, and he put it there. And the Lashon of Chazal, they looked up at the nachash, and they were healed from the snake bites. The Lashon of Chazal, famous Mishnah, that wasn't the nachash they were looking at. They were shabbat libam klape mala. Okay, what do you need the nachash? Put a big arrow up there. Like, what do you need the nachash for? So it's strange to take the plague of the nachashim and to be meirib the plague al hanes, and now somehow or another they're looking at it, or it's pointing to the Shemayim, and they're doing tshuva, and they're being healed. It's a very strange story. So the Zohar explains that what was the kavanah of Moshe Rabbeinu here? What was the kavanah? By the way, this was also Midaita. wasn't that he had a mitzvah from Hashem to do this. It was asa v'daita. Says the Zayar. Al da yistakel Moshe be'uvda nachash hanachoshes. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu was thinking and looking at when he decided to make the nachash hanachoshes. T'chsiv vayas Moshe nachas nachoshes, meaning it wasn't a mitzvah from Hashem. Vayas Moshe nachas hanachoshes. It was a chap, if you will, of Moshe. It was a chap that worked. Haviyada acher da tocha dezav ma'hu nachoshes begin the nachash kalishna delay. Asher haviyada. Okay. Hashem said to make a saraf, he made a nachash. So says the Zohar as follows. Ikr de bil sahave. The main point over here is the Habekan Misaksiv that a little bit earlier says Vayishlach Hashem ba'amas ha'nachashim hasrafim. My taima. Yisrael chatu b'lishneiha. The whole chet of Klal Yisrael was with their Lashon. They said that Hashem is not taking care of us. We want to go back to Mitzrayim. It's chet ha-Lashon. Vaydaber ha'am b'Elokim u'b'Moshe. That's what it says in the Torah, that the people spoke about Hashem, they spoke about Moshe. Valda, and it was on that Vayishlach Hashem ba'amas ha'nachashim hasrafim. Moshe lo yazal basar ikra. So Moshe Rabbeinu analyzed where is this chet coming from, the chet haloshin coming from, that they're speaking about me and they're speaking about Hashem. Where is it coming from? It's coming from, he says, the b'chol asar hay nachash azla basar raza de'eshes chayil. It's coming from the nachash hakadmoini. The whole chet is coming from the nachash in Gan Eden. B'chol asar hay nachash azla basar raza de'eshes chayil. So I just want to find the exact.
I apologize, but I don't see Bechal Shverkeit.
Yeah.
Somewhere Nachoshim really, it's not Nachoshim, this is not Baruch. So for me, I would think that Moshe was saying, he was seeming to think Baruch because the marker of the food is the bottom of Baruch. That's why he's bedaf b'sim simul.
You mean if somebody has the flu, you put a big germ on a stick and tell him to look at it? If somebody gets bitten by a dog, you tell him to look at the dog. Look at HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
He didn't send them germs, he sent them a symbol of the nachash.
So the Zohar is explaining that he was sending a symbol of the nachash, that it's not by accident that you're being plagued by. It's not by accident that you're being plagued by nachashim. You're being plagued by the nachashim because you did the chet of the nachash.
Telling them to remember what happened in the Gan Eden.
That's right. In other words, it was a Musar Shmuz. How do you give a Musar Shmuz to a couple of million people that are kvetching? He showed them the nachash and reminded them of the chet, not of Adam, and not the chet of Chava, but the chet of the nachash in Gan Eden. This is what you're doing. And when they looked at the nachash, that's Pshat the Mishnah. When they looked at the nachash, they were Rab and nachash for Niskar Halacha. They knew the story. They had heard the story. It was the Rosario, the story of the nachash hakadmoini, the nachash in Gan Eden, and they refrained from saying that brought them to be Meshamed Libam Klape Bailo. So they looked with their eyes, but their heart went up to the Shemayim. They said, okay, we fell into the nachash trap. So says the Zohar.
Well, was that any more of a simon that Moshe showed them? the nachashim were killing them right and left. Or shouldn't they have?
Look down at the nachash.
Yeah, should they?
And a chalabi, but I think that I can see it because, in other words, I think like if you're being plagued by something, you don't look at what you're being plagued by. You looked at the fact that I'm being plagued. Okay, I got bitten by my finger. I must have known if my finger. I got bitten by my heel. I must have known. And Moshe Rabbeinu was pointing out to them, no, nachash. It's so interesting because on our streets, So there was the last few weeks. There's a plague of nachashim. They keep up finding these poisonous snakes. So as the makubal of the block, I was like, "What's with the nachashim?" Because you have the famous scorpion story. Like, what's the right on Bucky and the scorpions?
What's the story?
It's a scorpion story.
Ah, the scorpion story is when I think everybody knows the story, but the story is that when we first got married, it's an interesting story. When I first got married, I lived in Yerushalayim. So actually, in my second dira, a few months after I got married, I moved into my dira in Romema. So there was a scorpion. All of a sudden, there was a scorpion. It's a scary thing walking across the living room. We had actually, now I'm thinking about it, we had just had our first son. So I'm talking about, little tiny baby. There's a scorpion in the house, so freaked out, called the neighbor. The neighbor came with the broom, started swearing at it, Moroccan or something. it was a whole thing. And then there was another scorpion, and another scorpion, and we were plagued with scorpions, so we called exterminator. And the exterminator says nothing you can do. You can't exterminate scorpions. You have to like burn down all the grass and dry grass in the whole valley behind Romema there, all the way to Shmuel and Avi's cabin. Nothing you can do. They come, whatever, nothing you can do. These were the poisonous scorpions. It was on Kedei Kach that I remember. I just like this vivid memory of Shabbos morning. Like my wife waking up screaming, "There's a scorpion!" And like there's two beds in a room, scorpion. And Shabbos morning, and I remember my wife standing on one bed, and I'm standing on the other bed, and we're looking at the scorpion, and she's saying, "Kill it." So I said, "I don't know." Like in Shulchan Aruch, it says that there's two kinds of scorpion, a black one and a red one. One you're allowed to kill, and one you're not allowed to kill on Shabbos. But I couldn't remember which was which. So I was looking at the scorpion. I said, "I don't remember." So I jumped over. I got the Mishnah Berurah. Yeah, we got to see this thing. Like I'm looking at the Mishnah Berurah. So it was the kind you could kill in Geronimo. I jumped off the bed, killed the scorpion. It was like they don't move very fast. That's the one thing about scorpions. Anyways, it was a crazy matzav.
Which one can you kill? Which one can you kill?
Still don't remember. This one, the red one, is the dangerous one. Red, yellow is the dangerous one. You're allowed to kill. Black one, you're not allowed to kill. They can both hurt you, but they won't kill you. Can't kill you. The poison is much stronger. The red, yellow one. Anyways, I went to. I didn't know what to do anymore. I was beside myself, so I went to Rav Steinberg. I said, I have the story of the scorpions. I started telling him all of the problem with the scorpions, and it's like what made our house crazy. Like we're walking around, like with covering the baby in a net all night, not sleeping all night. Can you imagine? It was really crazy. So he said to me, so I said, "What should I do?" So he said, "You should call an exterminator." So I said, "I did call an exterminator. It doesn't work." So he says, He said, "So bring me the Parak Shira from the shelf." That time, not only I didn't know what the Parak Shira was, nobody knew what the Parak Shira was. It was not a known, popular thing. I will tell you something. This story made it popular. I'll prove it to you. I said, "What's the Parak Shira?" He says, "The back of the Oyster Tfilis is a Parak Shira." So I brought the Parak Shira. He says, "Turn. This is a list of every animal and what it says. Take a look. Akrav Mahu Omer." So I opened up Akrav, alphabetical order. He said, "Akrav Mahu Omer. What does the scorpion say?" The scorpion says, "Akrav Mahu Omer." He knew about that. Interesting. Who knows the Parak Shira about that? What does it say? So I said, it says, "Tov Hashem lakol, v'racham al-kol, ma'asav shlomo melech." Somehow, but the Akrav is saying, "Tov Hashem lakol, v'racham al-kol, ma'asav." So he said, why does the Akrav say, "Tov Hashem lakol, v'racham al-kol, ma'asav"? I have no idea. Why did the Akrav say that? So he said that the reason is because almost every animal in the Bria, mosquitoes, lions, everything has a place in the Bria, something that its job is. Nobody's been able to find out or figure out what scorpions are for. They don't. Mosquitoes take you away from dampness. Everything has a different tachlis. Bees make honey. pollinate. But what's the purpose of the scorpion? Yet HaKadosh Baruch Hu, obviously it has a purpose, but yet HaKadosh Baruch Hu lets it to live. So the scorpion is walking around all day saying, Toiv Hashem lakol v'racham b'kol basa. HaKadosh Baruch Hu lets me be, even though everybody hates me, nobody wants me, and I have no kesher with civilization. Nobody keeps a pet scorpion. Like it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu lets me be. That's Toiv Hashem lakol. So he said to me that obviously there's somebody who you consider to be a zero and threw them out of your life. So I said, yes, because what had happened was that in our previous apartment, which was in Unsdorf, this is a very interesting story. In our previous apartment, so Hanukkah, exactly Hanukkah, the first night of Hanukkah, so we had got married in August, so we were just newly married. So Nani knocked on the door. So we're just about to light Hanukkah candles. You want to join us? He said in English, actually. He said, I'd love to join you. So he joined us for Hanukkah candles. Then he came the next night, and the next night, and the next night. And then he came to eat, and I was giving him dinner every day, and then we were washing his clothes, and then he became like part of the family. And he started coming in when I wasn't home, and it was making my wife uncomfortable. And that's a very interesting fellow, by the way. Like it was some kind of a university graduate, very high intellectual person, but a ragged person, and obviously something wrong, you know. But that he fell into this situation. So I when we moved, I asked a Rav, not Rav Haber, I asked a Rav, a Shaila, if do I have to tell him that where I'm moving to? I mean, this is getting a little bit crazy. So he said, no, shalom bayis, blah blah blah. Shouldn't tell him where you're moving. So okay, so we came to a new house, and then we had peace. From this guy who was there every single day until the scorpions came. So there was no peace. So I'm thinking to myself, Toiv Hashem lakol v'racham b'kol basa. I pushed this person away. I mean, he was dependent on me. So this is the blister that the Rishiva. I got on the bus, and I'm looking all over the city for this guy, because I knew that this was the only way to get rid of the Akrovim from my house. And I'm walking through Meishar, but I'm walking through Geula. Your slide wasn't as big as it is today. And I'm going here, and I'm going there, and I finally find him. Maybe 2-3 days later, sitting at a bus stop. I jumped off the bus on Strauss in front of Liechtenstein Beholder, sitting on the stump there. And I said to him, "Where are you?" He says, "Where am I? Where are you? You moved." So I took him home, and we fed him and washed his clothes, and there was never an akrov again. It was a vice
Your neighbors didn't have akrov?
Huh?
Your neighbors in town on the side didn't have any? It was just you?
It was just me. Absolutely just me. So the story of the akrovim.
And then they left?
So
and then they were gone?
no more akrovim. The story, I want to just tell you a story within the story that years later, the story was in my head, a story, like something that happened to me, like a interesting story about the Parak Shira, interesting story about Rav Sheinberg, interesting story about the Zandi. It was an interesting story. So Australia, Hanukkah, they asked me to speak to a bunch of kids, the Pirchei group. So not really my thing to speak to kids. So he says, tell them a story. So I don't know, what story should I tell? Tell them any story. So I don't know why this story popped in my head, so I told the kids the story. Somebody was in the audience, one of the Madrichim. A couple of days later, he goes to England, this Madrich, and he meets Pesach Kron. So he tells Pesach, I got to tell you this story. Amazing story. So he tells him the story. So Pesach Kron calls me. He says, is this a true story that I heard? I need to know the exact details. I told him, yeah, it's an exact story. Next thing I know, it's in the Maggid. The Maggid speaks. It's in there, It's the story is there. It's also then they took this story, and it's if you take the art scroll, put out a Parak Shira, a very beautiful Parak Shira. So the Hakdama of the Parak Shira, if you read the introduction to the Parak Shira, has the story about Parak Shira. When that came out, our school called me, and they said that there's a guy in South Africa who just ordered, I think it was 2,000 copies of the Parak Shira because of the story. He thought it was like such a story of Abuna that they gave it out to every kid in the schools that they were in. So I met Rav Pesach Kron years later. He said to me, "You and I made the Parak Shira famous. Parak Shira, whoever heard of Parak Shira."
They tell the story with your name?
In Art Scroll not, and in Pesach Crowd, yes.
Your version is much better than Rabbi Krohn's. I've read his also.
Oh yeah? No, you don't
I
understand.
heard originally you told it over in Muncie.
Did I?
Yeah.
There you go. My version is the version. It's the version. Anyway, so there's a get back with Tachlis. There was the snakes on the block, so I became the Bucky because this was at the back of also one of the Olam Ainus, in cartoon form. The story about the nachash. So I said, I don't know anything about nachash. I only know about akrava. My expertise and experiences. So take a look at Parak Shira then. But you see, if I would have looked at Parak Shira, even if I would have had the chap to look at Parak Shira, I would not have understood it as deeply as it was taught to me. But you have to be a Talmud Chacham and a Gadol to understand really what's happening here. That's the real godless of the story. But in any case, all of a sudden here, we come across a Zohar of what is, Moshe Rabbeinu said, don't look at the bite, don't look at the fact that you're suffering, don't look at the fact, look at the nachash. He's underlining the nachash, and Rabbi all days, he emphasized the issue here is the nachash. What does this remind you of? It reminds you of the nachash hakadmoidi. So let's analyze this. What was the avera of the nachash hakadmoidi? Says the Zohar chatu b'lishneihain, that the nachash was chayte b'lashon, and so too Klal Yisrael was chayte b'lashon. Where do we find that the nachash spoke lashon hara? So just analyze this for a second. Where?
He spoke Lashon Hara against Hashem.
Okay.
He said, Hashem doesn't want you to know because otherwise you'll be like him. It's complete fabrication.
Like Moitzi Shemra,
right.
who's also called Lashon Hara. Right. So the Chafetz Chaim, just to show you something, the Chafetz Chaim, in the very first page of the Chafetz Chaim, the Psicha Lehilchas Isser Lashon Hara Rechilas, he says here, Seyul Mad, when he starts to talk about the Isser of Lashon Hara, it's Seyul Mad, Ma Ir L'Doiga, Doimi L'Noiv, Yirakoyan, Oid Kama Rois Hatsumai Shinasva, Mida Amaguna Hazais. So many terrible things happen because we talk Lashon Hara. Kabashi Yadua, as it is known, Shechet HaNachash Haya HaIker Ayadei Lashon Hara, that the Iker Chet of the, it seems to be Pasha to you. It wasn't so Pasha to me. No, it wasn't so Pasha to me that the Chet of the Nachash, did you ever think about it that way, was a Chet of Lashon Hara. But he says, the Chafetz Chaim says, Shechet HaNachash Haya HaIker,
root cause.
Iker Ayadei, the root cause, Ayadei Lashon Hara. The Iker of the Nachash was Lashon Hara. Shediber Lashon Hara al HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A little bit different than what you're saying. Shediber al Lashon Hara al HaKadosh Baruch Hu. She'abar, because he said, Min ha'ilan hazeh achal, that Hashem, so the Nachash said, according to the Chafetz Chaim, I guess he's a better, I don't know where it is. He said that Hashem ate from this tree. Hashem ate from this tree, ubara es ha'olam. And by that, ubazeh, he created the world. What you see is how ridiculous Lashon Hara could be, and people still buy it. It's no, that was like a koach of Lashon Hara. Does this make any sense? Who created the darn tree? Shomer b'na'ilan hazeh achal ubaras ha'olam v'ayedei zeh pita es Chava, and this is how he was able to seduce Chava. K'mo she'amar Chazal, ba nachash al Chava v'hitel ba zuama. So whatever that means, it also means, says the Chafetz Chaim, that the poison of the nachash, which is what? The Lashon Hara. Not so much that he raped her in a physical sense, but the pita es Chava v'hitel ba zuama. He injected his venom into Chava, meaning the Lashon Hara.
He sullied her.
The Lashon Hara corrupted her, he messed her up, because the Lashon Hara of the Nachash was Hitel Bazuma. That venom was put in. Lashon Hara is infectious that way. Lashon Hara, I can take, it's like a nachash, in fact. Like I can take the venom of Lashon Hara, and I can put it into the Isha, and then she then went ahead and talked her husband into, Adam into eating from the Eitz Hadas. So Chafetz Chaim is understanding that the chet of chatoyim is what he's saying. The mother of all sin is the chet ha-nachash, and the chet ha-nachash was the chet of Lashon Hara, insight by the Lashon Hara. The emphasis that I just think, like the nachash is associated with Lashon Hara. Also, I believe Rashi says that when Moshe Rabbeinu was standing by the Shlit'a, so he said, "Hey lo yaminu li, will never believe me," and HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, "Throw your stick on the ground," and it turned into a nachash. So I think Rashi even says, the Chazal certainly say, I think Rashi brings down, it turned into a nachash to remind you that you just spoke Lashon Hara about Klal Yisrael. Shehei lo yaminu li. It turned into a nachash.
And it took it later with the Pazar.
Also by Paro.
Because Pazar said Lashon Hara?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bil. So when you're underestimating, it's the chet of reductionism. It's like the obvious leitzonos, sacrilege. Hashem. Who's this Hashem that you're talking about? Or underestimating Klal Yisrael. Hey lo yaminu li, he took the wind out of Klal Yisrael. This is the nachash. The nachash took the wind out of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you will. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created a world and a Gan Eden and a mitzvah. This was the paradise, the tikkun that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was looking for, and the nachash came and took the wind out of the whole story, out of the whole nachash, and that wind, said Moshe Rabbeinu, is still what we're dealing with ad hayom hazeh. So to analyze it, okay, it's the nachash. Maybe when if we're in a situation where somebody starts telling us Lashon Hara, just imagine the person is like a snake.
Take a nachash card.
Yeah. He is the nachash card. In other words, the person who's speaking Lashon Hara, just for a minute, just imagine him as a snake, giving out a venom that is doing what? What's he doing? He's reducing. He's extolling himself at the expense of another person. In this case, at the expense of HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. This is the way that I'm baroming myself, making himself, generally speaking, or herself, into something which he or she. In other words, speaking Lashon Hara feels good. That's why people do it. The reason people,
snakes always have their tongue going out a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a forked tongue.
But what's the kuda like? What's the psychology behind speaking Lashon Hara? Why is this so gishmak? To speak, why? So why is that gishmak?
It makes you think that you feel.
Okay, so it's beraim of yourself at the expense of another person. Ultimately, that's the chet. Very few people speak Lashon Hara l'shma. This is speaking Lashon Hara because I just want to bring you down. Why do you want to bring down another person? It's like it makes very, very. Then it's already Lashon Hara l'toelos, which is mutter. Meaning, if I have nothing in it, I'm just trying to help a person with a shidduch or with business or something like that. Then it's talking not the chet hanachash, but the chet of Lashon Hara, the chet of all chatoyim. I said the mother of all chatoyim is this idea of the nachash saying that you and I, meaning really I, can be killing him. We could be the boyrei. We could be the big shots here in this world. Why do you need to? That's all Hashem did, is he ate from the Eitz Hadas. This is a fascinating medrash. That's all Hashem did. So he basically bringing down HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it's like this reductionism. I'm just wondering, just to think it through with you. So Klal Yisrael is in the midbar, and they're Vayidaber ha'am belikim uvemoshe. And he brought us out into the midbar, he brought us up to the Midbar. We're remembering Mitzrayim as this wonderful place. It's not so schwer. I mean, Mitzrayim was a wonderful place. I mean, Mitzrayim did have. Mitzrayim was Manhattan. Mitzrayim was Athens. Mitzrayim was the seat of culture, the seat of Gashmias, and everybody had their own pool and their own pyramid. It was like a good. It was a good makom, like Mitzrayim. It was very, very developed, rich. The Nile River, food. So we were avodim. Bad luck for 85 years or 87 years or whatever it was that we were avodim. But basically, Mitzrayim was the place to be. Bringing us out to Midbar. We're remembering the Gashmias of Mitzrayim. What are they doing over here? Like Moshe Rabbeinu was telling them, I'm taking you to Eretz Yisrael. I'm taking you to the Eretz Yisrael. I'm taking you to a makom of the Shechina. I'm taking you to Eretz Zavas Chalav Udvash. I'm getting you the Torah. Like this is another thing. Bump on the road. To the Torah, we're doing something so much deeper in terms of the tachlis of the world and what the world is all about. And you're remembering the garlic. I think the garlic of Mitzrayim is, Kegan Hashem Ke'eretz Mitzrayim. The garlic of Mitzrayim is the Eretz Yisrael wannabe. What they were saying was, let's reduce Hashem, let's reduce Moshe, let's reduce Eretz Yisrael, let's reduce all that, and that way, and let's go back to Mitzrayim. Meaning, this is mamash the nachash. This is mamash the nachash. In other words, the only way to make themselves why are we have to take the wind out of Hashem like the nachash did. We have to take the wind out of Moshe like the nachash did. And Moshe Rabbeinu's response to that was he waved a nachash. Here you go again with the chet of the nachash. But all this is in the Zohar, Barur, Zohar, Parshas Truma. This is all clear. I'm just saying the Chafetz Chaim is most of this point that the whole chet of the nachash was the chet of Lashon Har. What Rav Tzadok is, and we're going to get to, but this Rav Tzadok in Likutei Ba'amora talks about. Let's just look at a couple of lines here. Page 105, if you have it there. Eishes zinunim bois la'asakna. This is the Lashon of the Zohar I just read to you. Eishes zinunim bois la'asakna. The nachash, at even a deeper level than everything we're talking about, was a chava wannabe. What does that mean? That chava was the merkava of the Shechina. That was her job. When we sing Eishes Chayil, or for that matter, the whole Shir HaShirim, when we sing Eishes Chayil, what we're saying about our wives is great challah. Like, that's not what it is. It's that too. But I was going to lose the Pashup shot. But the clear shot is that even if you look at the Zmiros, Zamir B'Shvachim, that the Kala, the Isha, is that which brings the Shechina into the house. Ishti Besi. Nachash was an Eishes Zinunim. What's an Eishes Zinunim? Like the women on the side, which is not bringing any Shechina, it's bringing Tumah, but it's saying, I can do this. the mistress is saying, I can do this. I can do this. You can't do this. You might be able to satisfy some Yetzer Hara, but you're not going to bring the Shechina into my house. You're not building a home with me. What are you? You're not real. Kov bifnei Adam. That's what the Eishes Zinunim is. So imagine this type of a mistress situation. Pressuring. That was the nachash. Pressuring. Take me. I can do this. Right? Hito bazuma. He's nothing. Hashem's nothing. Your husband's nothing. Everything's nothing. I'm the. Shizeh kol, says Rav Tzadok, a couple of lines there. Shizeh kol chafetz u'vos ha'olam loymar anu Yisrael. The yearning of the chafetz, the yearning of every nation of the world is to say, we are the chosen people. Anu Yisrael. Isn't it true? Avol rak bois, it's just a yearning. Mitzad olam hazeh shikra. They can say it in this world because this world is sheker. They can say it. They can get away with it. Sheyesh mitzias l'ratzon sheker. That's what you want. You want to be the chosen people? So whatever, name your nation in history. We are the ones. We have to understand that almost every major, the Babylonians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Persians, almost every the Christians in the time of the Christian church, back then, they all saw themselves as being inspired by God as the ones that are here to take over the world. The Nazis saw themselves that way. Allah Yisrael.
Replacement theology.
Yeah, it's Esav. It's Esav. I get the bracha.
Nachash Ne'alamas.
What?
They were fighting Nachash Ne'alamas.
Nachash Ne'alamas. Exactly Esav. Exactly the Esav story is the story of we are the chosen people. And you can get away with it for a long time. The truth wins at the end, but sometimes the end is 100 years, 200 years, or 500 years. The end can be, it's not necessarily the next day. Yesh Mitzias the Ratzon HaSheker, Aval Lo Yechilas. At the end, they are not the real people. They come, they go. Where are they? Where are the Egyptians? Where are the Babylonians, the Greeks? Va'ostila, if you want to understand the depth of the Umas HaOlam, Kigavna Lashon of Desire, the Kupa Eitzel Barnash. It's a kof b'fnei adam. It's a kof b'fnei adam. Monkey see, monkey do. Ayin shab b'zayir truma, which we just did. Just look at the zayir and truma, and you'll understand what a kof b'fnei adam is. That was a nachash. Kof b'fnei adam. Va'amru, Chazal say Rabbi Basra, hakol b'fnei hashchina ki kof b'fnei adam. Lashon the Gemara. That when it comes to the Shechina, now what's the Gemara talking about? Here we have just one sentence, brilliant insight of Rav Tzadok. Hakol bifnei Shechina ki koif bifnei adam. We stand in front of the Shechina, hakol. The Goyim stand in front of the Shechina like a koif bifnei adam. How do you stand in front of the Shechina? Where are you standing when you're standing in front of the Shechina? Yadua, it's well known, Shechina hu knesses Yisrael. It doesn't mean, like when we built the Mishkan Vasali Mikdash v'shachanti b'soicha. So when we're talking about the Shechina, we're talking about the Shechina that lies within Klal Yisrael because we became the Merkava, the Keli for the Shechina. We are the Isha and Shir Ashir. We are, Klal Yisrael is the Isha, the real Isha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Goyim, Eisha Zanudim. Mistress. We are the Isha of Hashem, in the meaning that so now everybody is standing in front of Klal Yisrael trying to mimic Klal Yisrael and like monkeys. And in the Alma de Shikra it works for a while. We are the chosen people. We are the ones that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. That was Esau. I'm getting married like Yitzchak got married. He probably didn't only try to deceive other people. Probably was deceiving himself. It was a life of deception. It was a life of monkeyism. Yadua sheshchina hu knesses Yisrael shahainu shchinas Hashem Yisbarach b'toich levavos to Yisrael. They were standing in front of Klal Yisrael, which was the true Merkava for the Shechina. Amru Chazal said in Sanhedrin, the midor haflaga nasa kupin. We became monkeys by the time of the Tower of Babel. Al sharatzu lehistabois livnais migdal v'raishay b'shamayim. Our goal, the world's goal, for building the Mikdash, the Migdal Bavel. Excuse me. And if you'll, by the way, you'll look at the exact chronology in the years. It was Asar Daris. It was exactly when they felt the tikkun has to be. What they didn't realize was the tikkun was not with their Dor HaFlaga, it was with Avram Avinu, who was Nifrash Midor HaFlaga, Nimrod, who became a fugitive. Who Dugbas Yisrael b'Beis HaMikdash Sham Shchinas Yisbarach. So Avram Avinu was making the real tikkun. He was the real Merkava. Ha'avos, Heim HaMerkava. The Avos were really the Merkava of the Shechina, bringing the Shechina to the world. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and they're building a big Bavel. We'll bring the Shechina into this world. Kikaif, Ifnei Adam.
UN.
The
UN.
Yeah.
Kofi.
Rabbi Haber b'fnei Adam, kikoif b'fnei Adam. V'chei kaviyachol l'malo, t'bus kemara adam olav bilbala. The t'bus kemara adam olav bilbala, that in Yecheskel's nevuah, who is the adam? The Goyim. It looked like a person. It looks. V'zeh shavar b'Shabbos kuf kadosh k'mashin ever kadoshim to you kadosh ani. The Zohar here says, I don't know what it means, just that a isha is the what's the difference between isha and the ish? The hay. So isha is the hay, the yud hay, Shem Hashem. But the hay is the last hay, says the Zohar. Where the hay come from? That everybody went to Shabbat Brachos knows that the difference between isha and ish is the yud hay. But the Zohar says where the hay come from. The hay is the last hay of Yud Kei Vav Kei. But the ish is the Yud Kei Vav, and the Yud Kei Vav, if you Zohar 101, Yud Kei Vav is the energy. The first three letters of the Shem Hashem is the energy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Bria, the hay is the Makabel. So the hay of the isha, the hay at the end of the word isha, means I'm not an ish, I'm Makabel an ish. Even in the biological models, so it is Abakabel the Ish the Bala, Ish Lamata, Abakabel the Shechina. So that's the model. So it's the Zohar, it's a funny Rav Haber. The Kuf is a hay with a long tail. Kof, is a hay, exactly a hay, right? It's exactly a hay, but it doesn't stop. That's the zanav of the nachash, of the kof. The difference between a kof and an adam on a chitzonius level is the tail of that kof. So the ois of an isha is hay, and the ois of nachash is kuf. Brings many proofs of the Zohar that that's the ois of nachash is kuf, because it's kikof bifnei adam, and the long kuf is a zanav. I understand it like you understand it, but that's the ois of the two. Zeshamer b'Shabbos kuf kadosh. Why should never kadoshim to you? That we shouldn't just be kadoshim, but kadoshim to you. You should be kadoshim ki kadosh ani, because I'm kadosh. In other words, wherein lies the kedusha of Klal Yisrael, and the fact that they are the Merkava for the Shechina. So Kedoshim to you, there are many, as Rav Tzadok is going to say, there are many klipos which can claim this Kedusha, but they're not Kadosh ki Kadosh Ani. They're wannabes, they're Migdal Bavels, they're Asavs, they're not the real pretenders, they're mimickers, they're monkeys. So it's a monkey see, monkey do, and the point is for today, that we mustn't be deceived by this, because if we're deceived by it, so apparently Klal Yisrael was deceived by this in the Midbar. HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed them the nachash. That's why he showed them the nachash hakem moini. You're being deceived by an Uba wannabe, the Kigan Hashem Karetz Mitzrayim. You're being deceived by the Nile. You're being deceived by the Gashmias, by the Chitzonius, that looks so good, it looks so strong, it's so successful, it's so corporate skyscrapers, pyramid, it's like really something to be taken by, and here you are in the desert, but I'm showing you Eretz Yisrael. So Kedoshim to you, Ki Kadosh Ani. That's the way, that's a koif b'fnei adam. So whatever you have, let's just sum this up, because there's a lot of things going on over here. It seems like that the omek of Lashon Hara is koif b'fnei adam. Bringing somebody down, putting myself up, creating a changing around the pieces on the chessboard, changing around, bringing myself up where I don't belong, like the nachash. That Latoelis is talking about, I'm just doing it to bring myself up, in order, at the expense rather, of another person. So this is a terrible avodas hanachash. But being deceived by this is what Chava did by being deceived by the nachash. Being deceived by this Lashon Hara, if you will, and seeing things for what they're not, just looking at things superficially, looking at the Kof and thinking it's an Adam, looking at Mitzrayim and thinking that it's Eretz Yisrael, and this is the chet of Jews throughout the whole Golos. You know, I could never stand these terms, even though people probably mean it well. That Baltimore is the Yerushalayim of America. There is no Yerushalayim in America. I'm a beautiful Jewish community. I'm not sure. They said the same thing about Vilna. It's kikoif b'fnei adam. We're not talking about these. These are bumps along the way. Which what does that mean? You don't have to go to Yerushalayim. You have Yerushalayim here. Very, very difficult. It's probably meant well, and it's probably meant as a compliment. But you have to be careful with these things, because that's a diminishing of. It's not the real thing. So Lashon Hara has to do with diminishing the real thing, and creating. That was creating something artificial, mimicry, pretenders, creating a kof. Creating a kof. We have to look at everything and say, is that a kof? You know, or is that the Shchina? Is this an Eishes Zinunim, which is Kikoif B'fnei Adam? It's an interesting Eishes Zinunim. I can do everything, but you can't do everything. You're just a kof B'fnei Adam. Every challenge that comes our way is often a kof B'fnei Adam. That's the essence of Lashon. So this was Moshe Rabbeinu holding up the nachash. Continue on.
Hashem breathes kadosh into us, and we give him back sheker.
I'm sorry.
He breathes kadosh into us,
right,
and we give him back sheker with our words.
Easier. Look at me.